und dann können wir ja schauen.
Okay, all right. Great. So yeah, thank you for being here today. I would say we would start with a short introduction of yourself, present yourself and maybe what you're doing as a profession.
Okay, thank you, Mira, for having me. It's a great pleasure. I'm Bert Martin Ohnemüller, and I'd like to introduce myself normally as a human being, because I'm defined because of the fact that I'm a human, so as you are. I'm a human being, I'm a husband, I'm a father of 4 kids, and in my professional time, I'm an expert, if I can say that, coming from the fast-moving consumer good industry. But within the last more than 10 years, I work in science. I try to better understand insights of neuroscience, evolutionary biology, positive psychology. And if you would ask me, can you put a business label on yourself? I'm always a little bit doubtful to say that, but I would describe myself as a hard leadership coach.
Great. Okay, I think I'm gonna jump right into it. You wrote the book Lead, Speak, Inspire. Can you tell me what was your inspiration to write this book?
Great question. You know what? I was always asking myself, what is success? How can I become successful? But not only in business, but also in life. What were the big challenges? And I can tell you in my life, there were more or less 3 challenges. First challenge was the idea of leadership. Nobody told me something about leadership. I grew up in the corporate world and I became an entrepreneur. Suddenly I was responsible for more than 30 people and nearly 1,000 freelancers. And I think I hadn't a real clue what is leadership all about. So I thought leadership is probably something like being a good parent. So I did it with all my intentions. Nowadays, I would say leadership is mainly or foremost self-leadership. So this is one subject I considered as a challenging task. The second, you know, how can I say that? My academic background is marketing communication. And when I think about communication as an art of science or as science itself, I would call it, or I like to call it, the science of misunderstanding. Most issues in business and probably also in life are because of a misunderstanding. So I think communication is very, very crucial. And last but not least, for more than 30 years, I tried to motivate somebody till I found out, at least for myself, that I believe nobody can motivate somebody else. Therefore, the 3rd chapter is about inspiration. And the book Lead, Speak, Inspire in its extended version is called Lead Hearts, not Ads, Speak the Truth, and Inspire Souls. This is the entire idea, and this is a little bit of background of the book.
Great. Yeah, the last time we were speaking, you told me about hard leadership. Can you tell me more about this?
Hard leadership sounds very romantic.
Yeah.
And I'm a romantic, but you know, I believe in humanity, if I may say that. Everything we discuss in business has to do with people. And sometimes we have forgotten that. And what I want to say with hard leadership, I think we have to leave the head and probably open our hearts a little bit more. And nowadays, when we take a look into scientific areas like embodiment, we have a lot of evidence that there is a connection between your embodied cognition and your perception, and between your body and your mind, etc., etc. And when I think about what I could or was able to learn within the last decade from neuroscientists, for instance, I learned that our brain is not an electrical device, but it works much more on biochemicals. And the biochemicals, I mean, neurotransmitters, hormones, are a result of an emotional state. And when I take a deeper look then into the awareness and how can I say that, the emotional state and the way we feel, I think I come one step closer to the heart. And the heart is probably more than just a pump.
Yeah.
We have a neuronal network also in the heart. And so from the romantic standpoint, I would like to say we have to open up our heart again, because I believe that society and especially business suffers from the so-called no heart syndrome. We want to manage everything with our intellect, but our intellect is not sufficient to manage the challenges of the daily life, I would say.
Okay. So you think in the current business world, like the heart is missing in our decisions?
Yeah, probably in our decisions. I think and this is also in the academic world, we are very much into this idea of evidence-based. Can you prove that? Can you prove that? And, everything which we cannot prove is probably just a quality.
Yeah.
Just a quality, like trust. It's a quality. No, it's not only a quality. It's much more. And I think what I would like to say, I think we have to use both. And when I go a little bit deeper into this heart idea and to use another scientific term, you can measure the heart rate variability. The heart rate variability is what's going on between your heartbeats. And we differentiate between a coherent and an incoherent state. And when you are in an incoherent state, it is expressed in stress, fear, and anxieties. You normally do not the best decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So to make good decisions, coming back to your question, you should probably take care of, am I in a good coherent state or not?
Yeah. So why is it so important to take our heart into account? You're saying because then we can make better decisions while having like a more balanced heart?
Yeah, something like that, but I would probably open it a little bit wider. I would say because we are humans, mm-hmm. and business has always to do with humans. And the quality of business, this is also one of my beliefs, depends on the quality of relations. And humans have, certain ways of perceiving informations, for instance. When I think about qualities like trust, I just mentioned it, you can feel that. Sometimes we talk about this gut feeling. What we have to consider is we live in a time of huge crisis. We are still in this kind of pandemic. Now there is a war, a lot of things going on. And when people lose their control, they tend to be scared. This is a part of our evolutionary biology. And when we talk about the heart, it's probably just one aspect from a new perspective, looking on business from the human side. Mm-hmm. And if I may say that, and you can stop me whenever you want to, if I may say that, I have a mission which I call the Decade of Humanity. And once again, talking about humanity sounds also a little bit romantic, but it is not. I think what we need is a better understanding about humans and about ourselves in terms how we think, feel, and mainly, why do we behave the way we behave? This is so important for businesses. I always wanted to know, why do people tell me something and do something else? And this is what we need, a new and better understanding about humans. And humans are much more emotional beings than rational creatures.
Yeah.
So you see that I think there is this kind of red thread in this idea of a new kind of a business, a human-based business, if I can call it this way.
Yeah. How do you think can we achieve this kind of business? Where can we start? Should we start changing the individuals and talk more about it? Or would you say like it has to be from the system on?
You already, if I may say that, gave me more or less the answer. I believe if you would ask me where to start, Bert, I would say, Mira, start with a woman, or Bert, start with a man in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
What we have to do is to find out who we truly are. And working for a long period now with the evolutionary biologists, I think it makes a lot of sense, because in my a little bit naive belief, I always like to translate the science of biology. Biology means the logic of life, and the logic of life is uniqueness. So what we have to find out is mainly who are we, in order to get a better understanding. Why do I perceive what I perceive? Why do I think the way I think? I think we learn everything about anything. This is at least what I experience, but we don't know and don't learn anything about ourselves or anything about life. And this is the reason why I feel privileged to teach in business and universities, business schools and universities, exactly about that, about leadership, self-leadership, and the question, how can I master the challenges of my own life?
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Okay. To change the topic a little bit from leadership, we talked the last time about emotional fitness, and that really intrigued me, this topic. So maybe you can give us an overview. What is emotional fitness to you?
Yeah, great point again. And I think everything, fits together, also when we just started from a little bit of kind of a meta level. Emotional fitness is not only, I would differentiate between a physical fitness and probably a mental fitness. I think an emotional fitness, I always like to compare that with your smartphone. Everybody is aware that when your battery is empty, you can't use it. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I ask people, what do you do when the battery is empty? And they say, I load it, I put it into the wallet, and I say, and then I ask, what do you do when your own battery is empty? I think what we need is a certain amount of emotional fitness to manage the challenges and sometimes also the unforeseeable challenges of life. And I think for that I developed a little task, and this task has a lot to do with this idea of, I think we can only change what we are aware about. So it's about creating an awareness. And when I take a deeper look into the business world, I always like to say a lot of people suffer from the conditions in the business world. And they feel probably burnouts or things like that because they did not care enough about their own battery, their own emotional fitness. So the idea of emotional fitness is simply, first of all, think about intuitively, what is your, how on a scale from 0 to 100, how much energy do you have in your battery? This is the first thing. Second, ask yourself, what takes energy away from you? Become aware what really takes the energy away from you, your emotional fitness, and what adds. How can you load in a certain way your battery? This is the second task. And then, easier said than done, think about doing more of the things which bring energy instead of the things which take energy away. Because at the end of the day, when your battery is empty, it's empty. And who is responsible for that? Everybody knows, oh, I'm responsible for my devices. But with this little idea of the emotional fitness, I want to make very much clear that we need to have mainly emotional energy.
Yeah.
Because when you do not have emotional energy, your mind starts, starts shifting into a, how can I say that, state, which is called survival mode. And in the survival mode, it's probably a great mode to survive, but not a great mode to thrive, not a great mode to become innovative, not a great mode to become super empathic and things like that. Everything we really need requires a strong emotional fitness.
Yeah. So in the end, it's all about knowing yourself again.
It's about knowing yourself. It's all about reflection. It's all about starting, what we just said, with a woman or with a man in the mirror, and ask yourself, how emotional fit am I in this given moment?
Yeah.
And then you have to start from there, because I believe, once again, I believe a lot, everything which is happening outside has a purpose which you only can find inside. And what I learned from neuroscience and all the sciences, your state depends on the way how you perceive the world. And we tend, because we have a lot of, I always like to say, in a certain way, we suffer from an evolutionary hangover. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of evolutionary things in our backpack. And for instance, what pops into my mind, our system tends to believe in a negative outcome. We have something like a negativity bias. So it says 70 to 80% of your inner voices, let me call them your doubts, are negative. Whenever there is a change, people think mainly, what if it goes wrong? Yeah, and this is exactly what I need to understand when we talk about better understanding oneself, that we are not only a product of our education. I always like to say we are the result of nature and nurture, mm-hmm. and the decisions we make. And awareness, once again, is the precondition to become something like the captain on your own ship. I have to become aware what's going on in my system, what's going on in my perception. And as somebody who has to lead his life or her life or the team, I think we have to be very much aware about the fact that everybody is scared. Fear is everywhere. And what we need is something which is stronger, more powerful than the fear. And what would we need to overcome fear? We are always working against this momentum of fear, and probably something else which I would like to call, people want to keep their status quo because change is scary. Yeah. Therefore, we need something else. And this is, first of all, better understanding of how reality comes into my own mind. And second, I need something which I would like to call a vision, an idea. Where do I want to go? Where is my uniqueness? What is my calling, if I may say that? Great. So it goes one step, it starts with self-reflection, but it's more something like, everybody knows that I need a license to drive a car, but this is something to get a license to manage my life. Yeah. So the vision helps you to overcome your fears. A vision, if it is strong enough. Yeah. What holds you back? I have a very simple, and again, probably a little bit romantic idea. Imagine in the moment when you are in love. Yeah. You have this feeling now? Yes. When you are in love, everything is possible, right? Mm-hmm. You are full of energy. The world is full of colors. You don't see any obstacles. I will make it, because you know that. And I like to call this, by the way, the honeymoon effect. The honeymoon effect is the only moment when you as an individual are not determined or driven by your subconscious patterns. And this is one example. So for instance, you could call it passion. When you are in love with what you do, you see the potential outcome, and you would work with your heart and with blood and sweat and everything, and you would say, this is my calling, this is my passion, and we would call it passion. And the contrary, if people work in a job hard, in a job they don't like, they would call it stress. So once again, I think it is, and a vision is something which chooses you and your team. Why should I stand up in the morning? What's the purpose? For the money? Yeah, sure. Money is hygiene, you know, money is something which is necessary, but this can never be the key driver for somebody.
Yeah.
And to find that, just to the final sentence, and to find that, the answer for that, to find your vision, I would like to tell you and to share with you, you will not find it here. You only can find it here.
Yeah. I have the feeling nowadays people don't take the time anymore to think about their vision or to make a clear picture, just because we are so overloaded with work and the current state that we don't want to kind of leave, but we're also like really scared of the future. Which jobs are we gonna have, and is it like something we really want? And do you have, because we're now speaking to university people, like, do you have something that you want to give us as a tip? What could we do different?
Beautiful aspect, Mira. And I think I have a cynical answer, but I'm not a cynicist, but I like to say sometimes, you know, what I perceive, I think people, and also young people, if I may say that, but people in general, spend more time in planning their vacation than planning their life. Where shall we go? And, you know, and once again, I come back to this idea of humanity or self-reflection. We don't know who we are, and we are a little bit confused, and we think we need a lot of titles. I need a bachelor, I need a master, and I need this and this and that. And if to be honest, the only thing you have with that is a ticket. You acquire a ticket, but you don't know whether there is a train, and you don't know in which direction the train goes. If I may use this picture, you know, what I want to say is, what we need is, first of all, a certain amount of time for ourselves. And sometimes 3 minutes is enough. So for instance, I call it the 3 minutes of inspiration. Right after our conversation, everybody who is watching, use a timer, take 3 minutes and write down, who am I, intuitively? What is my purpose? Where do I want to go? And leave the head and try to follow your heart. You know, when I talk once again about the heart, this is not an invention of Bert, this heart leadership idea. Even Goethe, our philosopher here from Frankfurt, already knew that there is our best compass. You know, when you want to know where to go, you have to have this idea, this feeling. Your heart shows you the way, and we have here a lot of neuronal networks. And coming back to science, what I learned, there are more data strings going from the heart to the head than the other way around. So once again, try to know who you are. Try to start finding out who you are. Use these 3 minutes. And the second advice I'd like to give you is focus on the now. Focus on the now. Focus on the now means, you know, when you take care for the moment, when you take care for the day, the tomorrow can take care for itself. You know, we jump too much between the past and the future. Is this enough? Can I do this? Can I do that? Can I do this? Can I do that? Focus on the now and try to make the most out of every given moment. Make every moment to your friend, not to your enemy. And, you know, with this intention to say, this is my time, this is my moment, I think this is all it needs. Certainly, you need to have a direction. One of my most favorite statements is, without objectives, every path is the right one. You need to have an idea where to go, but then focus on the now. Because our mind tends to distract us. And once again, knowing that we suffer from a lot of these evolutionary hangovers, I think our mind tends to talk us out of our visions. Right? True or not?
Yeah, that's true.
I think doubts kill more dreams than failure ever will. And Bert, I always like to say, Uncle Bert from time to time would like to share another advice, knowing that we have this kind of negativity biases, etc., etc. I always like to say, and I always like to say that to students, do not necessarily believe everything you think, especially when you have negative thoughts. You know, this is just the creation of your past, of your whatever it is. Don't believe that necessarily. Every day, every moment, every second, we can make a new decision. All it needs to change your life is one decision at a time and a bold activity. A decision without action has no value. This is like, I always like to say, you know, you will have the greatest studies, but you don't know how to apply. Information, insights without application has no value, right? So once again, this is so important. Focus on the now. Focus on the now. Make smart decisions.
Yeah.
Do it. Learn. Yeah. Win. Learn. And then next step. One step at a time. One step at a time. And one more aspect, if I may. Stop comparing and stop competing with anybody. The only thing you should compare and compete is the one you were yesterday.
Yeah, that's a great advice. Yeah,
that's my little
perfect.
thought on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people can help this advice, and I hope it's going to be easier in the future to implement it also in our daily life, and not like take only 1 hour like in a year to think about it, but make it like a daily business for ourselves. Yeah.
I don't know. We exchanged some little exercises. What I want to tell you, and this is exactly what you said. You know, you can compare it to the sports. You know, you can say, "Oh, I should go to the gym," and you train very hard for 5 hours once a month. It will not change anything on your body. It's this idea of the daily routine, the daily discipline. And you know what? What was very inspirational for myself, once I heard one sentence, and I would like to share that with you because it is like a brain tattoo. And the sentence is like the following: that the price of discipline, and there is always a little price to pay, the price of discipline is always less than the pain of regret. The price of discipline is always less than the pain of regret. The worst feeling we have is regretting. And imagine you look back somewhere and decide, I should have, I could have. So what I want to say with that, a few minutes every day, in the morning, reflect on the day. What do you want to achieve? What's my goal? What is my heart telling me? And coming back to the heart idea, ask yourself 2 questions. Put your head on your heart. and ask your heart, what do you really want to tell me? Listen with empathy. And the second question, ask your heart, what do you want to give? Listen with empathy. And this couldn't become a daily routine. And I think this little insight, our brain needs repetition, you know, to build new neuronal autobahns, new habits. We need to repeat. And once again, I know that you are overwhelmed with stress and things like that. But I always like to say, somebody who does not have 10, 20 or 30 minutes for him or herself has no life. So the one you see in the mirror is the most important individual in your life. You better take care, because with this lady or gentleman, you will spend most time of your life. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And this is what I want to say, you know, everything starts from within. If you want to change, start with a man or with a woman in the mirror. And when we are able to change the way we look at things, things will suddenly change. This is the miracle. This is the real miracle, and this is the power.
Great.
And if you don't believe that, give me a call, and it works. But you need to have a little bit trust the process. We need to have trust in life, and we can only have trust in life when we are able to trust ourselves.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much for this interview. It was a real pleasure, and yeah, I hope we speak soon again.
Mira, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.